How would you musicalize this line? Musical theater writer guy is super fun and informative. Lols. Who even am I? But really, how would you do it? The biggest thing that makes one song more singable than another in musical theater is how the words fit and flow on the melodic line. Now, do I mean that this always has to sound like natural speech in order to make this happen? Absolutely not. Singing our lives and our feelings is not natural. It's heightened. So if we look at this idea through that lens, then the singability of a word, or a line, or a full song is less about how the words fit on the music, but how the music and the words together convey intention. Before we try it, let's look at 3 different examples for clarity. The opening line of Roxie from Chicago is, "The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Roxie." Or at least that's how it would be said if you were a normal human being. But that's not how it's sung. No, it's set as, "The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Roxie." But why? It's not natural at all, but it still sounds very singable when it's performed. That's because in this moment, Roxie is trying to be, feel, and sound like one of the vaudeville stars whom she idolizes. She's trying to be cool, and surprising, and jazzy, and a tease. So we end up with, "The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Roxie." Makes more sense now. Sondheim music has been known for being particularly singable for actors, and I do think that's true. The fact that you can have a line that is long and wordy and complicated and yet still walk away completely understanding everything is super impressive. Let's look at one of the lengthiest lines in On the Steps of the Palace from Into the Woods. Now, this line usually gives people trouble when they're learning it, but it doesn't tend to be about the words, more about the tonality. The line goes, "Although how can you know who you are till you know what you want, which you don't, so then which do you pick, where you're safe out of sight in yourself, but where everything's wrong?" And that's how we might say it. Lots of conjunctions and turn words, so it might be a bit stilted. But Cinderella is stuck in pitch, as she is attempting to run away from a prince, who will certainly appear in mere moments. She doesn't have the time to be stilted in her speech. We're in a hurry here. So instead, Sondheim sets it as, "Although how can you know who you are till you know what you want, what you don't, so then which do you pick, where you're safe out of sight and yourself, but where everything's wrong?" And we might lose a little bit of clarity still. Well, that is until we put the notes on the line. "Although how can you know who you are till you know what you want, what you don't, so then which do you pick, where you're safe out of sight and yourself, but where everything's wrong?" Now we can understand it clearly and get a sense of her urgency. Both. But what about something that is meant to be stilted? Can that also work? Yep. Hey, if you're a musical theater writer and you would like a community or a little more information, then make sure to check out the link in the description below to the Musical Theater Writing Collective. We just started our first cohort, but I'm going to be running this course again in the fall. Plus, there will be a whole bunch more programs to come, so make sure to check that out. One of the least intentionally catchy songs from the contemporary musical theater canon is the song "Hey" from Next to Normal. It's broken into 3 parts and is very conversational, but boy does it get stuck in my head. But that's because it's very singable. In Hey Number 1, Henry sings, "Hey, have you been on the scene? 'Cause you look like a mess." Or at least that's how I might say it if I had absolutely zero regard for Natalie's feelings in this moment. But Henry does. And he's also feeling awkward. Plus he's trying to get Natalie to open up and talk to him, and also be real with her, but also not scare her away. So it's written instead as, "Hey, have you been on the scene? 'Cause you look like a mess." It's a bit jarring because he's talking about things that could potentially make her run, and he doesn't want that. But also he wants to reestablish that connection with her so he can be of help if she needs help. So when sung, it's, "Hey, have you been on the scene? 'Cause you look like a mess." And doesn't that just sound like conversation? Musicalized? Intention, wrapped up in word emphasis, tempo, dynamics, and of course pitches. If it sounds like the emotional state of that character in their given situation with what they want, then it comes across as singable. When these things do not align, well, that's when we run into issues. So, this brings us back to musical theater writer guy is super fun and informative. Now, I say that with excitement, but also with slight embarrassment because it does feel egotistical to say this, but here we go. So I might decide to emphasize the su of super and the and, but also pause a little bit after fun. I think I kind of did it that way already. And that would be musical theater writer guy is super fun and informative. Trying not to break down into full embarrassment while saying it. So if I were to add notes, it might be musical theater writer guy is super fun and informative, or something like that. I don't know, but that's me and my intentions with the line. What about yours? How would you do it? But if you first want to know more about word emphasis to make sure that your words are going to be properly emphasized as you write your lyric, then make sure to check out this video next. Otherwise, thank you all for being here with me today, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!